Hello everyone, I am Tacit and I'm going to be going over the new Gems of War Mythic of the Midwinter Lycan that for some reason is coming out in the middle of summer. So of course we ended up getting this new Mythic last Friday, though I was away on a family trip during that time, and we're finally back to normal schedule, so only thing we really need to go catch up on is covering this Mythic, so that's what we shall do right now. Covering a bunch of teams, doing the key opening, and all the normal stuff we do for first impressions of this Mythic. So, even though we are a few days late to the party, of course, this comes out the first Friday of every single month, as does every new Mythic in this regard, and it is still available. Still available all the way until Friday reset time, so still plenty of time to go and get yourself one if you haven't already, or basically until the end of Thursday then. You'll be able to get it in Glory Gem, Guild, and VIP chests. As far as what this guy does, he is not that good. But it is interesting as far as it does have a triple status effect. It has Freeze, Terror, and technically Curse. The biggest issue with this thing is that it has Curse Freeze, which, yes, that could get the entire enemy team cursed and frozen, but it can also get your entire team cursed and frozen. And this is a little bit annoying because it does have Impervious, but of course Impervious gets completely outdone by Curse. So even though it has Impervious, it can be completely countered by itself. So that's going to be kind of bad, as the main counter the enemy team needs for this troop is you just using the troop to begin with. So that's bad. But Inflict Freeze Terror on extra turn, that does have potential. There are other freezers we'd be getting these days, like Freeze Fire, Freeze... I don't know, what else do we have? Entangle. I feel like we have some kind of other weird combination with them. But we've been getting a lot of like Freeze Burn, stuff like that. There's a lot of other alternatives that I feel like have better overall value, not necessarily because Freeze Terror is bad, but because this ability has so much potential to backfire. The other big issue with how much damage it does is that it doesn't. It does almost no damage. It has no boost ratio whatsoever on its magic damage. I believe it has like a 1.25 plus like 1 or 2 or something, but it has no additional ratio beyond that, so not based on any kind of gem, not based on any kind of anything. So his amount of damage is going to be outdone by many legendary troops within the game, despite being a mythic. So you're not really using him for a damage source, so you basically have to use him for his stats effects, but most of his stats effects, 2 out of 3, can just backfire onto your own team. So overall, just a really clunky troop that I don't really foresee getting used at all, other than in pretty much pure Maugrim Woods restrictions. Of course, it is from Maugrim Woods, so pure Maugrim Woods probably going to be its best option. Second best probably being 4x Beast, as 50% Meta Start Beast teams, which I believe we show 4x Maugrim Woods and a 4x Beast team coming up, so you could do it either or. They'll probably use slightly more for Maugrim Woods, especially if you're missing the purple Celestial Dragon there. And it can also be used for Elemental, but I feel like Elemental has enough that you're probably not using it for that category. But overall, it's a pretty slightly below average mythic that has some utility purposes, but probably backfires far too much to bother use. But anyways, let's go and see if we can pull this thing real quick. Hopefully we don't burn through too many keys. Hopefully we can get it before we dip under like 29,000. I might start hitting the 200 button just so we get it a little quicker. It'd be fun if we get 2 of these. Would you ever need 2 of these? Probably not. Unless a 4x Terror team mechanic ever becomes particularly relevant. But there we go, we got ourselves the Midwinter Lycan, so let's go and upgrade this guy and go do a test run. Of course, all the teams that we're going to be going over will be in the description below if you want to go and copy-paste any of them. But let's just go double orb him real quick. Actually, what is his actual effect thingy? Do we get any good stats on him? He's probably not worth upgrading. I don't really foresee him being used too much. And even if he is, the extra stats... Okay, he is Mage. He is probably the most beneficial one he could have been. That means with his 1.25, he's getting like, what, 7 additional damage? Because I should round up, but not down. Or actually, should round down, but not up, I mean. So he should be getting 7, no. What am I saying? 5 additional damage. He should be getting, no. Yeah, because he's getting 6. I was right the first time. So yeah, he'd be getting 7 damage. Because I'm pretty sure it would round down, because he's getting 1.25 times of, 6. And I'm pretty sure that rounds down there, so... you know what? I don't know. Might be worth it. Makes him a little bit harder hitting. Nothing else, we might need it for how many things we need to have upgraded in Maugrim Woods. So you know what? We'll go for it. Why not? We'll go for the orbs too. We got enough of these sitting around. I actually forgot to do this the other weekend too. Or the other week, I mean. But getting the gold thingy at the end of the week, I completely forgot to do it. So now we're down by 2. It makes our numbers look weird because I went for the silver but not for the gold. So now our golds are down. But oh well, not that big a deal. But anyways. Let's go and see what this can do. So as you can see, we end up increasing its magic damage. I think it did go up by the extra 2 instead of 1. So it went up by 8 instead of 7. But I believe that was because the ratio of how his magic already was ended up moving it up. whereas normally it should go by 7. It just depends how it rounds, depending on how many other stats you already have. But anyways, let's go get him into the 3 teams before I forget to do it and use like Queen of Sin or something in his place. And let's go see what this guy can do. I do not have high hopes for him, but you never know. Things have surprised us before. Also, we went with a really funny one for the low rarity team, going down to somewhat a classic there. I guess I'll do Sword's Edge. I have no clue why I always feel the need to do Sword's Edge for these, but it has been the location we tend to do, so you know what, we'll keep doing it. Alright, let's start from the top. So we're going to be going with a status effect AoE team. If nothing else, one thing that this guy is good at is he does have a lot of status effects. He has Curse, he has Freeze, and he has Terror. Combining that with other troops, we can get quite a few onto the opposing team. As he has 3, you can use it with other things that also have 3, though in this case we're using it with just some of the better ones. Obviously Elementalist that does pretty much everything, and Queen of Tanya for that Fairy Fire, just synergize with a double AoE. This guy has AoE, this thing has AoE. But just to put it into example, what I was talking about earlier with Legends having more damage. Right now, if we go check this, we're getting, what, 16 additional damage here for her effect. And that brings her to, what right now, 84. Compared to him, which is hitting 82. So it's quite literally being out-damaged by a legendary troop, which, yeah, that's not too good for a Mythic these days, if you're being out-damaged by a legend. So that's probably its biggest downside overall, is it just doesn't do that much damage. Like, it's not consistent enough of a mana accumulator to be a mana accumulator. It's, like everything it doesn't do consistently enough to bother being that thing. Except maybe Terror. But I feel like that they're still going to be better in the future. Like, there's other Freezers, there's other Terrors, there's other Pervusers. There's other things that can, you know, just create a bunch of gems and do effects. He just doesn't really excel at anything. He doesn't have particularly good damage, literally being out-damaged by Queen of Tanya in this exact moment in time. Oh no, it's just a very, very situational troop that, unless you're doing it for, like, pure Maugrim Woods, or some other similar restriction, I don't really see the use case where it's really coming out. Let's see if we can actually land extra turn, though. Actually, let me give myself a preemptive bless just to make sure if he does start cursing us again, as we do need anti-curse, which is also a huge liability of him. You need to have anti-curse, not for the enemy team, but for your own team. Which is one thing that's always been kind of weird about curse gems in general. He's not the only one who has that problem. Obviously, anything with the curse gem mechanic has that exact same issue, in that you almost need a anti-counter for the thing that's already on your team, just so it doesn't backfire back on you. Hey, it actually got a Terror kill. Look at that. See, Terror did do something. I was hoping we'd get at least like one instance where Terror didn't do absolutely nothing. But look, it did the final kill there. All right, so the main thing that you're probably going to be using this team for, the pure Maugrim Woods team. Biggest issue with this, we're all the mana accumulators. Maugrim Woods does not have an explodey weapon currently. Hopefully by the next Maugrim Woods event it will. So you don't really have anything mana accumulation in that regard, or resummon. You of course do have 50% mana start. This team is 4 times Beast. I didn't actually show it before the start of the battle, but you might notice our stats are really, really high. This is 4 times Beast and 4 times Maugrim Woods. So you could use it for either restriction in PvP or other similar game modes where you would be restricted in such a way. So it does have that kind of usability, if nothing else. But beyond that, yeah, it does gain a lot of stats for having that. It's also pure green, oddly enough. That one I don't even think I've tried for, but that also gives us extra HP. Maugrim Woods is already pretty extra HP heavy. Unfortunately, like many kingdoms that have like a really high stat like that, no boost ratio. Doesn't really have any way to boost ratio from all that HP that's getting, so a little unfortunate. But this is a pretty skull-oriented team, which is kind of funny, is this team doesn't actually use any of the skull mythics from this place, but still has a skull in the Doom weapon, still a skull in the double converting Forest Guardian, which you generally use in any kind of pure beast team, under beast restrictions and or Maugrim Woods restrictions. And hopefully this thing doesn't miss, even though you know for sure it's going to. Hey, look at that, it did. Who could have guessed? Anyways, we'll create some greens. Unfortunately, only 8. Why on earth does this thing only create 8? I understand it's a bounty troop, but gosh, a little low. Especially for a kingdom already lacking a bit. Though it does have some okay empowers. The biggest issue with this kingdom is one that a couple kingdoms has, like Adana and such. It's a mix of beasts and war gears, and all the good empowers from this place are all war gears, not beasts for the most part. So it's a little bit clunky in that regard when you're trying to build a pure beast team out of this place. We're in a bit of an awkward situation due to, guess what? Our own freeze gem! Because guess what this team doesn't have, because there's no way to do it in Maugrim Woods in a way that is manageable. It doesn't have any anti-freeze or anti-curse, because there's no room on the team for it. Even though it's our own team that's applying it to ourselves, in a sense. Anyways, we'll throw this down, get our other convert, and we should be good to go. Kind of just whack it once. Do you do enough damage? No. Do you do enough damage? What's your other convert? Purple. Brown to green. No, neither of those two things do enough. Nothing does enough. I'll just whack this and hope we land extra turn. We did not land extra turn. Alright, let's whack you with this then. And there we go. Yeah, it's 4 times Maugrim Woods, 4 times Beast kind of team. Let's double check. What kind of stats do we get for running this team? Because I didn't actually show it before we did it, because that's one of the other nice benefits of it. Unfortunately, a lot of those stats are going completely unused. But yeah, we're getting a really hefty amount of HP, though of course no HP boost ratio to utilize it. And beyond that, a little bit of attack value, which of course goes pretty good with 2 different things that can do attack. Though we are not using the Mythic that also had skulls, which is an option. You could also downgrade from Doomed Glaive, ideally for an explodey weapon if we ever get one from this kingdom. Though one does not currently exist. Though if we ever get like Maugrim Woods explodey resummon weapon, would be a pretty nice fit for that kind of structure of Maugrim Woods team. If you're going pure beast with it instead of pure war gear. Anyways, for this final team, I figured we'd bring back a classic, not completely a classic, but Justice Freeze team. I feel like this has completely fallen off of the meta for quite a while now, which is kind of funny because he was never really nerfed other than how gem spawn works. But him directly has never actually been nerfed. But yeah, Freeze into him has always been a pretty decent mechanic and still is in early game. Getting a Justice is so free early on in the game. You don't even need any traits on him for it to function. You pretty much get this automatically for free when you first start out the game. Literally just go into a guild, go do some seals, claim it after a week, and boom, you probably got enough seals to go get yourself a Justice. Queen Beatrix, similarly, if you just throw all your shards at the Deep Hive, you could easily get her within your first week of playing. Midnight Lycan is what this whole team is based around, so we kind of have to use that Mythic. And Cauldron you get just from naturally leveling up your hero, so you will automatically get it. You don't have to wait for a certain event week or anything else. So the basic premise with this is also a pretty skull-oriented team. Even though we're not actually using any of these skull things from Maugrim Woods that would normally synergize with them. Mostly because they're pretty high rarity, whereas everything here is very low rarity. But anyways, main goal here, get mana accumulation going. I did opt to not have Leprechaun, which generally these days you don't necessarily want to exclude, just because of how quick-paced everything is. But I figured for this, just so we have a little bit more variety with the team, just to not show a second Leprechaun team. Because I feel like I fall into that a lot, where like sometimes I'll do a team video, and every single team will have like Leprechaun Throw or something, you know, something along those lines. So I figure we bring back Justice, see how it does. Honestly, I haven't really used the proper Justice team in a while, so who knows, maybe it's still good. It's not bad. It's never really become bad in a sense. It's just other things have become better. So we should be able to do this on Doom Skulls, yes. He's one of the few that actually can create Doom Skulls, which is nice. So you do get all the extra explosion damage, you do get all the extra skull damage from it as well. But the basic premise with this is this weapon ends up doubling the amount of attack on a given troop. We then synergize that with this attack that we're already gaining that gets even more from the freeze, which we should be getting from extra turns, which I feel like we've been lacking extra turns this battle. That's one of the things we kind of need to get rolling, so we can get all the freezes and everything else, so we can get the boost ratio for Justice, and, you know, just get the overall team rolling. Man, anyways, can we get a green to green? I want that last little bit of mana. What we really need is more extra turns. Cauldron doesn't actually give us anything. Justice not going to get up quick enough. Blue? No, green. Green Surge. Yeah, there we go. Alright, now if you just don't miss... Also, we have Beatrix for Cleanse, by the way. Because, of course, we need to counter our own troop. Let's see. I think we just cast and hope we don't get unlucky. We got slightly unlucky. But hey, one extra turn here and we should be golden. Actually, honestly, I might just try for it off of Justice. I'm trying for it. We're going to go for it. Did we get it? Alright, we got our Cleanse. It's good. I can't quite fully utilize these Doom Skulls. I do feel the need to go for it. Oh yeah, since we're cleansed, I can go for that. Oh. Do we go for that? I think we do. As much as I want to go for the Justice and everything. Let's go. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's all other allies. Oh no, wait. I always forgot. You have to offset the Justice by 1 and then use your other thing in first slot. So really what our first slot should be on this team is probably the new troop and or Beatrix. Oh, I forgot. He doesn't do it to himself. Oh no. Aw. I might need to try it again the other way around. I completely forgot about that. Because a lot of things these days that actually do that kind of buff do actually do it to themselves and everything else. I guess that's the other thing that he kind of fell off on a little bit. Is, yeah, he doesn't have that treatment since he never got re-updated for that mechanic. Though, we can still double! We can still keep going for the doubles if we want to. Man, anyways, we'll go move that over. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. We'll need to try that the other way around then. Let's see. The only problem is this team is probably still going to be too slow even the other way around. I don't know. There's a reason why Justice isn't really used too much these days. And it's mostly because it has kind of fallen off on speed. Even if you are running it with some of the things that can kind of get it up quicker, like Wand and similar things. Oh no, it just doesn't really have the speed. Even if we were assuming we had like super high attack, like the attack we now have, like it gets us to one-shot range. And at least everything else still has our attack. But if you compare it to something like, let's say, Wild King, for example, where he does attack to everything, he does enrage to everything, he actually extra turns pretty consistently, he has more gem creation by almost like, what, 8 gems? 7 gems? I think it does 24, whereas Justice does 15. So if you compare it to something like that, it just has fallen so far behind compared to where troops are these days compared to back in the day. But if nothing else, the team's still very accessible. It's pretty much a team, excluding the Mythic, of course, which the team is based around. It's basically a team that you can get within your first week of playing if you really try to. Only thing that might be a little bit harder is I think you can get like 30-30 on green-brown mastery there. But because that's something you probably don't do week 1, but you definitely would like the first few weeks. Get like a couple hundred levels on your hero to get the weapon. But of course there's plenty of other weapons out there, but generally the on-level up hero weapons are the easiest to put into low rarity teams. So you just kind of naturally get them through the progression really early on in the game. Yeah, just move the Justice back by 1 so we can actually get onto something. I still feel like we should use Beatrix up there because I do not have any confidence that this Midwinter Lycan can mana accumulate at all. But yeah, it's really clunky. It's really clunky. If you're being outdamaged by a legend, there's probably a problem. If you're a Mythic that's basically supposed to kind of be a damage source to some degree, and you're being outdamaged by a random legend, might be a problem. Might be a problem. But yeah, he doesn't excel at anything, I think is the biggest issue. Like, there's definitely synergies for him. There's things you can do with him. This was definitely the strongest team, of course. Though, honestly, anything Wand Leprechaun is going to function these days. You can put, like, anything in between there that does even remotely anything, and they'll be fine. Anyways, we'll go for this. Probably should have re-wanded just in case he missed, but hey, look at that. He didn't actually miss for once. He did something. Alright, we'll go for Queen Titania. Of course, we have Queen Titania for the Fair Fire. Hey, look, see, why is it only this team that ever gets the terror kills? So, of course, that is from him. He is still one of the better ways to apply terror. It just... I feel like you would only be using him for his final trick if you're going to be putting him into a team, though. Because his ability is just so volatile. Like, we did it for a little bit of damage there, and yeah, we landed extra turn, but gosh, I think out of every time we cast it, we have like 20% extra turn rate with him right now. It's just so low, but anyways, long story short, yeah, he's probably pretty skippable. Obviously, Maugrim Woods getting close to a 30-star is a factor on if you want to get him or not. But for the most part, I would say very skippable Mythic. If you haven't already gotten him already, and you don't have that many resources, yeah, I would say he's definitely on the skippable side. Obviously, if you're at the point where you have more than half the Mythics in the game, you do generally want to go for every new Mythic, which this one would be included. However, if you're earlier on in the game, I would definitely say this is a pretty easy skip that you don't really need. As they're really, like, even though he's a utility troop, there isn't really an instance where you're going to feel like you have to use him, like some other utility troops, like 4x stun, 4x curse, stuff like that, that actually have more of a use case. Maybe if some kind of terror team comes around that doesn't want to run Elementalist and you use him for, like, freeze terror, then he'll end up being good, but as it currently stands, terror is a relatively newer mechanic, and there really isn't like a terror boost ratio team or even like a 4x terror team. This could change as Midnight develops, but even if that was to happen, keep in mind, of course, it is not from Midnight, it is from Maugrim Woods. So even in that circumstance, there'll be a, well, you might be able to use it in a general team. If we ever have like a Midnight restriction or something similar, you won't be able to use this guy in that team. So overall, I don't know, this doesn't really seem like there's much of a use case. And I'm kind of surprised that they didn't just add this to Midnight. Like, why didn't they just add it to the place that has the mechanic? I don't know, I just find it very strange. Everything about it just seems slightly off. But, you know, Midnight has, like, 0 troops. We still have not had an event for this thing, by the way. It came out in, what, January? So we're, like, 6 months now without it. I know for sure because I don't have the weapon. I know, because I'm missing the weapon that goes with it. Also, what's this weapon? Sword's Edge. Create a mix of ghost gems and freeze gems. An exploded gem. Did I forget to get a weapon at some point? Did we just have an event and I forgot to get the weapon? Let me guess. There's a raid weapon, and I forgot to go get it. Let me guess. No? I'm confused. What weapon did I forget to get? Oh, is that the Kingdom Pass weapon? I think that's the Kingdom Pass weapon. That would make sense from the campaign, because I don't think I actually bought the thingy yet. That, or I forgot to click claim on it. One or the other. Is that the weapon? I'm actually not sure where this weapon came from now. It came from something. Very confused. Oh yeah, I just didn't buy the thing yet. Okay. That's not related to this. I was just wondering where that was. There it was, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. But yeah, we'll be back to normal schedule now. So tonight we'll have our normal 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time stream as we do every single night. And of course we'll have the Monday video up sometime, actually on Monday this time instead of multiple days early. So we'll be able to go over everything, Soul Forge, all the normal stuff that, you know, you can only go over on a Monday because it gets reset at that point. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. I will catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone. And thanks for watching.